Current Affairs Prog Show right here on this dial. Be sure to follow us across social media platforms. YouTube, it would be at Eagles FM Abuja. Do the same with Facebook at Eagles FM Abuja. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel at Eagles FM Abuja and spread the Eagles wings across every other social media platform as you know it at Eagles FM Abuja, and you will find us. It is a Wednesday. We like to call it the Way Back Wednesday, and hitting the ground running already. Now, are you aware that there is a bill that's been sponsored, and this bill is requiring presidents, governors to resign after defection? Well, this and many more is what we'll be looking into this morning. My name is Udwak Daniel. Now, we are looking at matters that concern the fact that the House of Representatives Committee on Constitution Review is considering a bill that would require presidents, vice presidents, governors, deputy governors to resign from their office if they defect from the party that sponsored their elections. Now, is somebody really feeling happy now? Because quite a number of Nigerians already having that thought. Some are saying this is a long overdue concern. Now, the proposed bill is aimed to promote party loyalty, accountability, to also promote transparency in governance by amending sections 143, 188 of the 1999 Constitution. So this move is also seeking to address the issue of elected officials defecting from their parties without consequences, and this has become a recurring problem in Nigeria's political landscape. Now, if you also recall that in 2007, the then Vice President, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, defected from the People's Democratic Party, the PDP, to the Action Congress, AC, and that sparked controversy and debate about the implications of defection on elected officials' tenure in office. So this bill is proposing to extend the provisions of Section 109, subsection G, to cover elected officials in the executive arm, including presidents, vice presidents, whether governors, whether you're deputy governor and all. This would mean that defecting officials would have to resign and allow their party to nominate a replacement. Okay, so is this even possible at all? Because quite a number of us have been advocating for this. We've been talking about this, whether in mainstream, downstream, upstream, whatever the stream it may be that you're streaming from, right? We've been looking into these issues, and we've seen the menace that this is causing. In fact, there is another one that is going on here, and you know, quite a number of people are saying that it is the type of politics that the former River State governor and now Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, is putting up with, and that would be, of course, being in one party and yet liaison, rubbing shoulders with another party, which is supposedly an opposing party, if you say. And now it does seem as though the political terrain is more of such that allows for you to be in one party, one ideology, so to speak, if there is any, and then you still collaborate with, you know, others in other political parties. Now, it is at this juncture that you see matters that concern political parties calling out certain persons within their party and saying that they are acting in defiance with the structure and the plans of the in view of the ideology of their said political parties. But then here we are looking at this one, and some are already beginning to talk, mouths already moving and saying, hey, if we are able to indeed put this bill in order, it might indeed bring about some very strategic change within the political atmosphere in this country. But let's look at the matter that concerns the fact that this constitution, or the House of Representatives Committee on Constitution Review, is led by Deputy Speaker Benjamin Kalu and is reviewing the 1999 Constitution to include provisions that would require elected officials to resign if they defect from their party. All right, so there are also concerns that this bill is also looking to promote loyalty, accountability, And indeed, support from left, right, and center it has garnered from stakeholders like the Arawa Youth Consultative Forum and the Coalition of the United Political Parties, right? So some stakeholders who have been involved in this discourse would be the likes of Benjamin Kalu, Solomon Bob, member of the Constitution Review Committee and Rivers lawmaker, the likes of Peter Ame, who happens to be the National Secretary of the Coalition of United Political Parties, Yerime Shatima, president of the Arawa Youth Consultative Forum, and of course, we'll also be looking at the likes of Anthony Sani, chieftain of the Arawa Consultative Forum, Awal Rafsanjani, executive director of the Civil Society Legislative Advocacy Center. All of these have indeed imputed themselves in this discourse, and we will be having our guest, who is one of reputable status. I'm talking about none other but the High Chief Peter Ame, who is a seasoned professional with a wealth of experience when it comes to matters that concern business administration, when it comes to matters that concern governance, right? And of course, when it also comes to issues that border around management and leadership. Now, he's a well-seasoned, voice in this regard, and has put out a couple of, conversations and arguments in this line. But whilst we are trying to connect with him, as he's not in town, hence he's not been able to make it in studio, but because of how critical and crucial this discourse is, we will be connecting with him via phone call. Now, we should look into matters that concern how this bill will promote the economic stability of Nigeria. Now, some are arguing that it will do so by ensuring that elected officials are accountable to their constituents. That's part of the argument now. Now, others are also looking at it from the place of the fact that the moment we are able to get this bill up and running, if it is signed into law, that is, if Mr. President is going to give assent to it, it might also allow for, it might also lead to more responsible governance and better management of public resources. Yeah? And then if you're looking at it from the social standpoint, one of the things that this bill will be doing is that it will promote party loyalty. It will reduce the frequency of defections. At least is already a menace. I mean, defections here and there, and it doesn't seem as though there is any law that is binding on this. And so it could lead to more stable party structures and a more cohesive political landscape. Right? So the question will now be, how would the bill impact the relationship between the elected officials and their constituents? But then there are also critical aspects to look into when we are talking matters that concern this bill, right? And one of such would be party loyalty. Over time, we have seen issues that concern matters that surround party loyalty. So this bill is aimed to promote party loyalty by requiring elected officials to resign if they defect. Accountability is another point in call, and of course, where the bill is seeking to hold elected officials accountable for their actions, as well as ensure transparency in governance. And then gross misconduct. Defections would be considered gross misconduct, warranting removal from office should you do so, right? Constitutional amendment, of course, the bill proposes amending sections 143, 188 of the 1999 Constitution to include provisions for resignation after defection. And then if it is based on democratic principles, this bill is raising questions about the impact of democratic principles and the potential for misuse for political gain, right? And now let's connect with our guest already, High Chief Peter Ame. Welcome to the discourse this morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
All right, feels good to have you in on this one. I mean, High Chief, how do you feel being a part of the process that engages a discourse concerning this very highly placed topical issue, a bill requiring president governors to resign after defection. Number one question on the lips of Nigerians and family members would be, is this even possible? Would we have president assent to this one? And yet another concern would butter around, the issues of amendment of the Constitution. What's your take on this?
For me, I think the amendment of our Constitution is a cycle and a hollow ritual that does not meet up the responsibility of protecting the rights of Nigeria. Because you don't need constitutional amendment to be able to solve some of these problems that Nigerians are going through. What you need is the will of those in leadership position. So let me tell you clearly, Section 109, Section 1G clearly says that when a person canvassed for vote, meets the electorate and got elected on the platform of a particular party, and that person becomes, the person's seat is supposed to be declared vacant. That's Section 109, Section 1G. But under the way our National Assembly and legislative arm work mysteriously to undermine the sanctity of our Constitution, they went further to Section 109, Section 2G to make proclaimment that the person who party has defection can defect. Let me tell you, as a former nationalist, I can tell you that no party has defection, has division. As long as INEC has recognized one part of the party, I used to be that this is the national chairman for this party. And somebody wakes up in Masaka, or somebody wakes up in Jos and say I'm national chairman. I do not go to classify that to be division, to the defect. When the regulatory body, who is the register and the regulator of political party, has identified a political party leadership. So the fact is that it's the fraud in the attitude of our leaders, who have now become so selfish in the interest of only to protect their selfish interests, which is to safeguard themselves and continue to institutionalize themselves in power instead of to institutionalize transparency, accountability, and probity. So the major thing we have now, this constitutional amendment is an hollow ritual. I don't think it will meet up with the responsibility and the expectations of Nigerians. Because if you go further, the same people who are defecting and the same people who are asking to come and amend the law for defection, they will never do it. Because I remember doing Bokala Saraki under the brokers of state payment. They refused to pass a law to give to thought, to guide to thought, for state assembly to have their money from direct line charge. These are people whose only interest is to work against the interest of Nigeria. We need the law, and that law must be the fact that this Supreme Court has made it on authoritative judgment that ticket belongs to the party. It is the political party that is on the ballot. If a person defects, that person is supposed to declare, that thing is supposed to automatically be banked without any declaration. The only declaration needs is for the party whose defection has affected to write to the National Assembly or State Assembly that they want to fill a person that will replace the votes that they have gotten from the electorate. It's the only way we can cause some level of equilibrium of management of our political activity. If not, these politicians will continue to take Nigeria for a ride.
But some
to manipulate our electorate.
yeah, but some of these politicians who had indeed received the mandate to occupy in a certain office will say that they also have their individual rights as enshrined in the Constitution. Don't you think that this will have implications on the rights of elected officials as well? How would this bill impact the stability and integrity of the democratic process? Is it going to impact it positively, negatively, or is it just going to be yet another cosmetic in the pipeline?
If the bill is followed through, and like I've told you, by expunging Section 109, Section 3G, that bill, that loophole that give opportunity to Senate President, to the leader, to the Speaker of the House of Reps, Speaker of the State House of Assembly, to declare the seat vacant. If that loophole is removed, then we have solved the problem. Which right does the person have when you have subscribed to the constitution of the political party? Because it's a voluntary organization. Yes, political parties are a legal entity. They are perpetual succession with authority to exist as a body. So if you have subscribed to the members, that you have subscribed to the regulation and principles governing the administration of that political party. So you cannot have canvassed under a party A. People vote for you on the manifesto of party A. Then you contested against party B, and in the meantime to your demo, you defect from party A to party B. What level of discipline is that? That is indiscipline. That is we cannot bequeath this current character to the next generation. We must bequeath a character that is sustainable, that has due respect for the principle of discipline, that has due respect to be able to give young generation the attention that is already deserved, to concentrate on governance rather than concentrate on protection of office. Because what is happening today, people are defecting to power and say, oh, the party has security, the party will control INEC, the party will control police, the party will control, so let's go there. And so they are forgotten. It was when reforms in the first place to have put them in a party that has no police. So it is an abuse of our electoral process. And this abuse should stop. Because Nigeria as a country cannot continue like this.
Well, this abuse has been going on for a while. And if you also would agree, this is not something that has come on with the 10th Assembly, or it's not something that has been with the 9th Assembly. It has been something that's been in practice. And now the Nigerians are asking and saying, if there was a Section 109G that says that, hey, if you are moving from this party to another party, you should indeed, be declared vacant. That seat should be declared vacant and all of that. And over years, administrations have come and gone, with even this present National Assembly, still presiding over constitutional matters and all. Doesn't it seem like an indictment on government in itself and the processes of interpreting the law?
My brother, look, Nigeria issue is not as complex as they want to make us believe.
So if it is not complex, who is to be held responsible in these processes? I mean, because we keep saying that, this thing has to be done rightly, if we should be able to close the gaps and all of that. But if we've been doing it over time, up until now, who is to be held responsible?
It is the judiciary. The judiciary has been dilly-dallying. The judiciary has refused to make clear pronouncements on issues that affect the interests of our community. Sincerely, if the judiciary has looked at effective laws on the basis of merit and not on the basis of technicality, if they have looked at it and said, look, this is save our democracy, this will bring sanity, because look at the way people are defecting. We're not running nomadic politics. We're not running politics of bread and butter. We're running politics. We should be running politics that put life and security on the front burner of discussion. Because the issue is that they're no longer making laws that will threaten our security issue. When they know that the primary purpose of governance, the number one, is security of life and property. It is in the presence of security of life and property that everything flourishes. So we have a problem that the judiciary have not done right by our people. The judiciary have not done what is necessary to do to declare all these action void. Because if the judiciary and the Supreme Court has clearly stated that it just belongs to the party, and that the party is the one that is on the panel. What else does the judiciary need again? That to say, you have moved from party A to party after you have been given the mandate, and that thing should be declared back. What does the judiciary need? It takes them years and years to be able to determine common case, something that should have been determined within a short period of time. So if we must save our democracy, this democracy must breathe well.
All right, well,
democracy must breathe well.
Yeah, well,
we must do and put more focus on the responsibility of the judiciary to interpret these processes and to make decisions based on merit and rather not based on decision on technicality.
Right. Well, in the United States, lawmakers are not required to resign from their party before defecting to another. However, such defections can have significant implications for the balance of power in Congress. Now, if you take South Africa in comparative analysis now, the Constitution provides for the loss of seats for members of parliament who defect to another party. In Kenya, a bill was proposed to bar lawmakers from defecting to other parties without losing their seats, but it was met with controversy and debate. And so the question will now be, how do international best practices on party defection compare to the proposed bill in Nigeria?
Please, we are just making laws for everything. Nigerians will soon make law for how mothers should be able to breastfeed their children. The issue is that our people are indisciplined. they are indisciplined, so we are not competitive to the United States. As I speak to Nigeria, the United States has no National Electoral Commission body. The parties, the elections are conducted with party politicians in local government and countries. We have three related. I can't break that down, but the fact is that there's no electoral commission. What you have in America is controlled by parties, political parties. The Secretary of the State might belong to a Republican, but he will not undermine the law. He will not disrespect the law. We have people who are very desperate here. That's why we're making laws even for how they walk into the chamber, how they walk out of the chamber, how they look at how we are breaking our national family. So the key thing here is that our leaders are indisciplined, first of all. So we needed to make laws to bring them to reckon with the fact that the primary purpose of this government is the people, and it is the welfare and security of the people. So we are making this law because of the indisciplined nature of those who have been elected, who do not believe in keeping to an agreement. Because an electorate vote given to you is an agreement. It is not everything that is written. Because most times, yes, there are written laws, but unwritten laws most times are more defensive than the written ones, which is an agreement between parties. So people give their vote to you, you cannot, you should not misinterpret that thing to mean that it is you, and it is your interest, and the interest of your children, and the interest of the next generation of your children. Instead of you to look at that, every person that is found within your constituency, within your territorial district, or within your territory as a country, are under the responsibility of your peers, so that you can look at prosperity and legacy. Because it's the only sustainable legacy. It is not how many buildings you will have, there will. It is not how many roads you build, there will. It is how you create an enabling community, opportunity for all manner of people, whether low class, middle class, or higher class, to have sustainable development that can scale into future and future development, even while the person is no longer on stage. So our politicians have missed the point. They are not interested in governance. They are interested in primitive acquisition of wealth, and that is why people can be elected on the platform of one party and canvass for vote on their own party, and then go to belong to a party that they contested together, while insulting themselves and calling the other party criminal party, useless party, and then you move to that party. This is the level, the lowest level of who will be as the agent of change for our people.
All right.
I do not see a reason why you don't want to eat dog and you are using your teeth to share the meat.
All right, let's put a peg to your thoughts. Open the phone lines, get to hear from family members now. You can be a part of the discourse. What do you think and how do you feel about the bill requiring presidents, governors to resign after defection? There has been, some thoughts about whether or not this bill will get assent from Mr. President. But anyways, the number would be 0907-353-0044. Hello, good morning.
Yes, Mr. Edward.
Yes.
Good morning once again.
Good morning to you, Honorable Edwards.
Yes, Honorable. Seriously speaking, our guest has spoken well. I don't know who introduced that particular. Is it a bill or a motion?
It's actually a bill. It's a bill. Deputy Speaker Benjamin Kalu.
Yeah.
Benjamin Kalu, Deputy